Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. Carrie, RJ, and my friends, good morning, everybody. We're working on an IronCAD versus SolidWorks, which is part of the Make My Design Life Easy. And just a quick check, can you see everything that I've got on the screen here? Carrie, you seeing this okay?
Yes.
Okay. So let me get this. I have two screens going at the moment. So what I'm going to be doing, before I get started, I just want to say that we're going to be working with a number of different products today. The product you see on the screen right now is the IronCAD Compose product, and it is a free product that's available. People can download this from the website. What makes it really special that it can virtually open any file, and what I'm using it for here is to present this interesting customer challenge. Now, what I'm showing is this is the actual part that we're going to be designing. We're going to be going from this 2D design, and this was kind of a SolidWorks challenge part. So we're going to be building this, and we're going to be using an innovative design concept. So before I get to that, now you won't be seeing this, folks, because what I'm doing is I'm running this on another screen. So I'm going to this one I'm going to have on the other screen for reference, and I'll show you that in a moment. And let me just set this up. So I'm going to stay in this mode just so, let me introduce you first to the IronCAD team. We have well over 255,000 users around the world. And we have been in this market and have been a market leader for more than 20 plus years. And we have a marvelous international reseller community of very talented people here to help our customers, more than 160 hours. So what are we working on today? Let's look at today's webinar. I've named this, as a naughty guy, I've named this IronCAD versus SolidWorks, and it's part of the series that we look at how to increase your productivity tenfold. Now, I'm not going to go too deep into this PowerPoint, but we're going to work on today, and just to highlight this for you, that's why I'm keeping it here, this idea down below that how IronCAD's innovative design offers the flexibility, predictability, and most of all, productivity over traditional design software, such as SolidWorks, Inventor. And really what I'm talking about here is I'm going to look at this, all parametric design systems, or systems that require you to sketch before you actually do anything. And that's what I really want to show you. So I'm going to jump straight in. And what you're going to see today, you're going to witness the following. You're going to witness an innovative design approach, which gives you a very flexible history structure. And I'm going to show you that. I'm going to be talking about why that's a marvelous thing. How you can position geometry without ever having to define a datum plane. We're going to show you how the IronCAD uses features that have intelligent behavior that will definitely save you time. And finally, this is all about productivity. So it's going to be really fun, and I'm looking forward to showing this to you. Oh, I don't want to see that. All right. I've opened up directly into an IronCAD scene. We're going to be working in millimeters today. So as I get started, what I'm going to want to show you is, now on this side of the screen are the IronCAD drag and drop catalogs. We're going to be talking about that. And as I mentioned before, we're going to be recreating, of course, this model right here. So let's get going with that, and let's get started. I'm going to start simply by showing you how these drag and drop shapes, and there's lots of interesting things going on here. Take a look over here. So I'm going to go to the simple shapes menu. You can see we have blocks, slabs, slots, cylinders. And what does that do for us? Well, these drag and drop editable shapes and the use of our tri-ball can increase your productivity tenfold. So we're going to start off by modeling this top, and I'm just going to show it, jump back and forth so you can see it. We're going to start off with this. This is 40 millimeters. Okay, I know it's 40 by 30 by 5 millimeters high. So let's look at that. There's the 5 mil. Let's take a look at it, see how this works. So simple block, bring it into the middle of the screen. And right away, now watch this, I've deliberately made a mistake. Oh, 1 point, oh, it's in inches. Well, without even exiting the command, I come right down here and say, no, I've decided this, I'm going to work in millimeters today. Good. And now I was right in the middle of doing this work. Doesn't matter. It says, that's fine, Bobby. You can go ahead. I want to make this, as I said, 40, okay, by 30 wide by 5. And there's our first shape. So we've actually now created the top of this block. So easy. What does that look like? Just like that. Okay, excellent. Now what do I want to do? Editable shapes, remember? So the next thing is grab this cylinder. Now I want to point out something interesting. As I pull this cylinder out on into the scene and move it, do you notice things will light up? For example, on this, oh, there's a midpoint of a line. There's an end point of a line, a vertex. There's a center point of a plane. So as I drop things, it's very intelligent because it tells me I'm dropping in specific locations. So let's put this in now. Here's a neat introduction. I'm using the shift key and these drag handles. Now, the reason I do that is because it's quite clever. As I'm working with this, if I want this to snap to the bottom plane, I simply hold the shift key, touch the bottom. It's now snapped to the bottom plane. Now I want it to snap to the top. There it is. And now how wide should this be? Well, we said, 40 wide. There it is, 40. And now I've got this cylinder living inside this original block. When I release it, it's all part of the same. So notice we've done no sketching. We've done simply this kind of work. So next step in this little point right here, notice it composed. I bring it back so you all can see it. I need to add this 4 millimeter tip. Let's look at that. How are we going to do that? Really neat. Remember that I said we recognize centers, midpoints? Well, we can also drag in a very unique way with our let's take a look at that. Let me bring the shape back again and lock it into place. Well, that's good. Now, we're going to grab a different cylinder, and this time, I'm just going to place it. I'm not going to drop it anywhere because I want to show you, I'm not going to place it in an exact location. Many of you who have used IronCAD before know that we have a tribal, and the tribal is very useful for moving things around, and I'm going to be showing you how you can drag geometry around with a tribal. But more importantly, we have some really unique features that are built into the product, and that allows me to do things like this. I can actually use the anchor and just drag this way. Now I'm dragging along this surface, okay, because it allows me to do that. Watch what happens when I go over to this surface. Notice that it's staying normal to the surface. So any point that I put this in, it'll stay normal. But there's another trick. If I hold the shift key while dragging, oh, it found that edge. Oh, it found that circle. Well, what else can it do? It can find this edge and it can find this point, which is exactly where I need this to be, because this location, hang on for a sec, this location that I'm working on right here is exactly the location. Sorry, I'm having go-to-meeting fun. There we go. So that's located now exactly where I want it to be, on that corner. Drag it down, drag it. This is using the shift key, and I've now put in that interesting little corner. Kind of neat. So notice that I've been using my drag and drop shapes that are very smart. Well, what other types of shapes do I have? Instead of shapes, well, what happens if I'm working? You know what? I'm going to show you a new idea. I prefer to work, I'm going to say that the part I'm working on is chrome. So we're now actually working on a chrome part, just by dragging and dropping it. Cool. Well, I want to put a hole in the corner of my chrome part. And if I look at the hole, you know, here's the actual hole that we're looking at right here. So it's a counterbore hole, as you can see. Super fun. And rather than do it in individual shapes where I'd have to say, oh, give me this cylinder, because I could do that. I could say, use a cylinder to cut through. I don't want that. Rather than, we've got some time-saving things, and one of those really cool time-saving device is our tools catalog. So I'm going to go grab a custom hole, and I'm going to place that custom hole, again, right at the center there. And it brings up a dialog box that lets me say, okay, what have I got going? What's the diameter? Well, I know it's a metric hole, and I was told it was exactly 3.3 diameter, so I could type it in. And here's some helpful thing. Go all the way through. I don't know how deep the part is anymore. I'm just working. Counterbore depth, looking at it, 1 millimeter deep by 6 millimeters wide. Go ahead and do that. Done. So I got the hole done. This side. Well, I have it in all 4 corners, so how am I going to change this? Well, this is where our tri-ball, and I'm really happy to show you this feature. I'm going to drill down to this cylinder that we created, and I'm also going to drill down to the hole that we created, and now I'm going to activate the tri-ball. So as you see, tri-ball is IronCAD's answer to modifying geometry, moving geometry, putting assemblies together. It is a fascinating tool that allows me to work in a heads-up display wave mode. And just before I go on and use that, I want to show you this. The tri-ball is made up of this. It really allows me to work like a jet fighter. So I'm concentrating only on the geometry, and I can use the tri-ball to create new geometry. So let me show you how that works. We're right back into the scene here. And I'm going to free the tri-ball by hitting the space bar and move it to the center of my part. So just by picking on it, and I lock it into position. Now watch this next part. Pick on an inner handle and just say, I want to mirror what I've highlighted and put it over on the other side. Done. Wow, very cool. And you know, now I need it on the other side too, so I just shift pick, and now come in and say, no worries, mirror that. Link. Oh, by the way, folks, I could move both of these to the other side. I could copy them, and by the way, copy lets me make changes, or I could link them. So any changes made to the originals are done here. That's really cool. So at this point, if you'll notice, there's no searching. I've done all this work, and now if I look at this particular part, you can see that I've got exactly the same on the bottom that I've got on the top. So I need to now match what's on the bottom of this part, what's on the top. So, okay, I'm going to go do that right now. And how are we going to do it? Now, you know, if I just picked on this and said to the tri-ball, well, you know, I want to put another part, say down here somewhere, and all I want to do with this is mirror it, like I just showed y'all. Well, that creates another part. I don't want to create another part. That's, you know, so I got 2 parts here. No, what I wanted to do is I wanted to come here and do these features, because remember, we created this using a block, then a cylinder. Look at this. And you haven't seen me sketch yet, not once. Holes, so we've got this. What am I going to do? I just want these features. 2 ways of doing this. I could select the features this way, where I just say, okay, you know, go right to the tree, shift select. There they are. Got everything. Now, I need this moved, so unlock the tri-ball. Watch this cool trick. You can only move along the Z axis. If we have any Canadians, that's the Z axis. So here we go. Pick up this, move it to the top of the part. And now what do I want to do? From here, I want to measure all the way down halfway. Well, what's halfway? It's 45 millimeters top to bottom. 45 divided by 2. I don't have to do it, but let IronCAD work it out for me. Done. Lock it into position. Once I'm done, just say, take this one, take all those features, and link them on the bottom. So look what we got. I've just added all those features, and I've got top and bottom. Any changes that are made up here will be made to the bottom as well. What do I want to do now? Well, here's a cool little trick for people doing blending. IronCAD has remarkable blend capability, and I'm going to show some advanced users. The idea behind these webinars is to really learn. Oh, by the way, if anyone has questions, please go ahead and answer. RJ and Carrie, you guys are watching that, and we'll come back to the questions at the end of the webinar. RJ, you seeing any questions coming in yet?
Nope, we're still good.
Nope. All right, cool, my friend. Thank you. How you doing this morning, RJ?
Good, good. I appreciate you taking the time to do this today.
My pleasure. Well, here's a cool trick. RJ taught me something a little while back, and that is that I can point at a part like this, and I can say Control E, which turns the edges on. Kind of neat. And I'm doing some blending, so I need to see these edges. But you know what's kind of neat? I learned something else the other day, and I thought that was kind of fun. If anyone works with IronCAD a lot, you'll notice over here is our scene browser. Well, there's also right next to it down here at the bottom something called a property browser, and that's kind of neat because what I can do in the property browser is just say, you know what? I want to see all the hidden edges, and oh, that's kind of neat. And I'll show you more why I like the property browser. Now that I can see these hidden edges, I'm going to hit the blend command and come right in and say, well, they told me I got to blend on this edge, which is 4 millimeters. Great. I'll pick through the part, this one. Don't have to move too much. Go ahead, grab this, and I want to put it on the bottom too. So I'm just walking around this part, grabbing these edges, putting this blend in. There we go. That's very cool. And I'm done with that. So I've added the blends. And what's kind of neat right now is I can just say, turn those edges off. So it's another way of working with it. But I noticed something else that you guys may see or not over the internet. This could look kind of blocky, and I didn't like how blocky it looked. Well, here's a cool thing about the product properties. I'm going to click on this part, and I notice right down here the surface smoothness is set to 30 pixels. Nah, set it to 100. Now everything is really smooth, and I like the way it looks. Good. I've improved the way that, looking at my part, how it looks for me. Notice we haven't done a single sketch yet. I haven't even thought about sketching. So now I'm going to come in here and I need to do this section 105. And so how do I do that? Well, I need to join these two. Easy way to do that, go back to my shapes, and I need a cone, but I only want partial cone. So what I'm going to do is come in here, grab this partial cone. Beautiful, there's my cone. I'm going to use the shift key to snap it all the way up here. Great. Now, it's not particularly useful, as you can see, because if I drag the drag handles and pull it in, I'm not able to get the exact 15 or 85 degree that I need here. And I know that it's 25 millimeters on top. Well, this is where I can introduce you all to something I call streamlined sketching. Actually, that's a name coined by a man by the name of Joe Brown, one of our resellers up in Washington, who has a really great site, technet.net, and it's a wonderful site to take a look at how to use this product. So encourage you to all go visit. Let's look at what we can do. Streamline stretching. How did we create this cone? Watch this. Go ahead. Edit the cross section for which the cone was created. Oh, it's a spin shape. That's cool. So if I touch this, it says, Bobby, this was 7.62 millimeters. No, I want it to be 25 divided by 2, right? Oh, beautiful. And what's the angle of this? I don't really want to know the length. Oh, 79. No, it's supposed to be, as I'm looking at, 85. Perfect. Go ahead and do that. I'm done. And now that streamlined sketch, finished. I did that part, real cool. Kind of neat. So I've got the part in there. Enjoying what I'm seeing. Take a look at something here. I just want to check. Here. Oh, what is that? Here, 5. Oh, isn't that interesting? Really cool. How about you? Cube 5. Let's look at that too. See something. Wow. I'm making changes as I'm going. I'm actually updating this as I go. Oh, don't get mad. It's angry at me. I'm undoing what I'm doing right now. Just checking this out. Good. Good enough to get started. All right. Let's keep going on this one. Now, I want to continue on my work on this particular part. So I'm noticing here as I get going that there are other things that I've got. I've got bosses coming out of the side here. I can see this boss just like that, and as I'm looking at it, for a moment while I do this, let me take a look. So this boss comes out and it shows me that it's 22 millimeters out here, 15 up, and it's on a 20-degree angle. Okay, So let me just see. By the way, Carrie, I noticed that I made a small error here. Would it be easy to fix this? If I just came in now and changed these sizes?
Yeah, I would move your bottom handle down because you have your cylinder attached to it.
Okay, yeah, help me do that. I'm just going to do this right now for a moment.
Yeah, click undo and yeah, click the base block, click on the bottom handle, change that to 5.
Ah, oh, I see. Same thing for this, the middle one, right?
Correct.
It's the bottom handle that I put wrong. Okay, that's very cool. And then I would put these, I'd also fix this, right?
You have your cylinders, your little cylinders.
Oh, thank you, my friend. Appreciate that. So, yeah, thank you for that. Just the way it worked. Oh, that was very cool. So I had made a mistake originally. What I had done is when I did this, I actually put them in at the wrong sides. And this is really, truly interesting that it shows me instantly, well, fixed it. No big deal as I'm working. Thanks, Gary. Appreciate that.
No problem.
So as I work through, I notice now I'm going to work on this boss. Well, I'm going to do that. I'm going to come in and I'm going to simply grab a cylinder, place it right here. Yep, good enough. And I notice it's not in the right direction. So watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to use this drywall, highlight. Now watch, here's a neat trick. I want it in this direction. Great, perfect. And now all I need to do is simply drag it this way. How far? We said 22. I want it to go up. How far? 15. Not cool. And now because I'm putting it into position directly from the drawing, now all I want to do is rotate this thing. Now, Carrie, I have a quick question for you, if I may, another little minor question. If I notice that it's dragging, like right now, I want it to be, it shows me 347. How could I get that to be just like you see what I'm working with, instead of like minus 20 or something like that?
It kind of depends on how it starts its initial rotation when the tribal is turned on. So if you probably would have to turn it off and restart it and rotate it down, it would change.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So if I do this, turn it off and come back into it?
I think so. Then drag down as your first movement.
Still, yeah, it doesn't give me that.
Yeah, then you might type in the negative. There you go.
Oh, I see. Okay, so thank you very much. Appreciate that. So it's a 15-degree tilt. I'm getting these figures from the drawings, folks. And now what are the sizes? This is 12 millimeters. And I just wanted to extend into parts. So if you'll notice as I'm working, what I'm able to do is just go ahead, just drag this into the part. Don't really care, because what it's doing, folks, right now, and it gives me an opportunity to show you something kind of neat. There's the part. I'm going to go into my tools menu, and I just want to show you something that I like to work with. If you're wondering what's happening with this part as we're working, I'm going to do a section now just to show it to you on the XZ plane. Go ahead and show me that. Where are you, little guy? Let me see. And I'll put it, you know what? I'll put it right at the center. So what have I done? I've gone right through the part to show you that even as I'm building this, it's kind of neat, because as I'm building it, one might assume, you know, what's happening to this cylinder, but the cylinder is joining with the block. So at any point, it's becoming a solid model without any sketching whatsoever. All right, so I could work in this mode if I wanted to, or I can do something really neat. Go to my section tool and just say, go ahead, right click, suppress it. I don't want to use that section. Back to the part, let's get back to drawing this. So what's the information that's being given to me? Let me see. We said 22 over, 15 up, 20 degrees. Oh, I made it 15, don't care, I'll change it in a minute. And now there's a rib, and this rib comes in here. Oh, let's do the rib. Okay, let's take a look at our rib. The rib says, it's kind of an interesting little challenge here. Let's go in and add this rib. So simply a block shape. Grab the block here. Yep, fine, thank you. And my rib's going to go the other way. So turn my handy dandy tribal on, reverse it. Simple, like, look at this. Look at all these tools. Sorry. Reverse this part. Good. And now as I'm working with this, okay, I need this part to be located. Where? Check this out. Well, there's the bottom. I want to put this right on the bottom. Notice that? Because I want this rib to start right on this plane. Excellent. That's where the rib starts. And now I'm going to push it in from the drawing. I'm looking at the drawing on the other screen, 1 millimeter over. That's great. And now I want this tilted, again, so 15 degrees backwards like this. Awesome. There's the rib. Now here's a very intelligent idea. Here's this rib. It's too wide right now. We said 3 millimeters. Well, I don't want to drag this handle. I want it to be equidistant. So I touch this little handle and I say 3 mil. There's my rib going up. I want it to stretch up through the part. There we go. A very simple little rib. Okay. So what we're doing right now, there's the compose. We're just drawing this rib. And I notice that there are fillets all through this thing, 1 millimeter fillets that are all around. They're typical one. So let me show you something. I'm going to introduce you to a concept called IntelliShapes. And remember, these are the things that really make this product super powerful. So it said on the side of this rib, let me go touch it. There's the rib right now. That rib has a property. So I want to reshape the surface. Oh, the sides of this intelligent shape, I want to taper the sides 10 degrees. Boom. Oh, that was really cool. Now, of course, hey folks, I could have gone up here and looked for a taper command. I could have searched through and find somewhere up here and tapered the sides, but it's built into this intelligent drag and drop feature. Saves me enormous time. Well, that's not the only thing it can do. It can do something absolutely marvelous. And this is where I get really excited about IronCAD, because I can say wherever this intelligent feature touches any other geometry, it must have at the intersection edges a 1 millimeter blend. And the start edge, which is the one down at the bottom here, has to also have a 1 millimeter blend. That's really cool. So notice what just happened is that I was able to put this thing in. Wow, that's kind of neat. And just added that feature. Well, if I could do that to that one, what happens if I do it to this one as well? Of course you can. Every one of these has the ability to say, wherever you find an intersection for this boss, go ahead and fill it. And look at how beautifully that's been done. Bang, bang. Oh, this one also, I forgot to fill it. No worries. Watch this. Give me a blend on this part, and right there. Oh, what are you doing to me? Hang on. Let's try to do all of them. Oh, don't hang on for a sec. Clear that. I don't want all of them. I want one just up there. Oh, 4 millimeters here. By the way, folks, because I wanted to show you something neat. I'm in the blend command, and in the same command, I've got kind of a neat thing that I can do. Give it to me on this edge too. But I don't want that to be 4 millimeters. I've just noticed on the part here, it's 1 millimeter down at the bottom. So in the same command, I was able to do 4 on 1 millimeter, and look at that. That was kind of neat. So there's the actual blend, the top and the bottom. And for those of you interested, I'm using a space pilot. That's why, I'm not using the mouse to rotate. I'm using my actual space pilot. I want to show you something kind of neat. Look at these blends in here. That allows me to introduce this very interesting history capability over here. You notice that I did this blend at the end. Well, what would happen if I did the blend maybe up here? Oh, kind of changes. What happens if I change it to here? I can actually move this blend around anywhere in the part and get different results. I'm not noticing. And something else that's really critical. Remember, we started with a simple block, just like this. We just put this block in. Well, this block has a lot of intelligence now, so I get to introduce you to something really neat. Well, notice that this is repeated 4 times, this rib around the outside shape. All I need to do, and I can introduce you to a very simple pattern feature. I could use a tri-ball, or I could take this very clever block now and create a circular pattern around the axis and watch what it does. And everyone goes, well, that's pretty cool. Well, yeah, it's very cool. But what you didn't actually see there is that it doesn't really matter where I'm applying this rip for that intelligence to take place. So let me introduce you to one really neat concept here. I'm going to go into my own little thing here, and I'm going to go grab that rib right here. I'm just going to grab it like this, and it's a block, and I'm going to push it over here, and I'm going to put it into my own little library. Now, why would I do that? Well, here's why. Bobby, go into a new part here. I'm just going to go into a new scene to show you a very interesting idea. So I'm working over here in a new scene, and as I'm working, I'm just going to drag out a part. Okay, and here's the part, and anytime I want, the block that we just created lives right here. That's what we just created. This is the actual part. Go ahead and reverse that. And the reason I want you to see this is we've actually created an intelligent device, because what we just did is we went into, see what it's doing? This little feature that we've just created, no matter where we place it, on any geometry, whatever that geometry is, no matter where we put it, go ahead, put this perpendicular to this face, there we go, or rotate this around. No matter where it's going to intersect, this little feature is going to try to, oops, where are you? It disappeared. There you are. Take my block, it was too low. As I pick it up into the part, you'll notice that it will try to create fillets no matter where it is on this part. It's very, very clever. So that's what I wanted to show you, that we've actually created something as we were working that was useful and could be then employed in our own catalogs for our own company as we work. Back to our part. Let's finish this quickly now so I can show you all some of the more wonderful parts that are here. RJ, you liking what you're seeing so far?
Yes, sir.
So, yeah, I find these features to be really very, very clever. You could do a lot with this stuff. All right, let's finish the part. There we go. We've got 4 of these around here, and we're virtually done this design. And by the way, I've got a couple more things to add, but we've done this. We finished our design before our SolidWorks guy has even actually done some of the sketching. All right, left a couple of things out, so I got to get back into this and say, let me go back to my shapes. Let's finish up. There was an 8mm through hole here. Let's go add that. Good. And it's already at 8mm, and I just want to drag it into the part. Beautiful. So there's the 8mm into the part. And I noticed down through the center here, let me just see that. I know that there was another, let me just see, make sure. There's a 28mm counterbore here on the bottom. So just drag that and go ahead and make that 28. Excellent. And I know, I believe it's only 3mm deep. It sure is. And there's here's a neat trick. Grab another hole right here. Watch this. And I know this one, the diameter of this hole is exactly 18, but it goes all the way through the part. So I can use a neat little IronCAD trick here. Just go all the way through. And I don't have to know how deep that is. It's now gone all the way through the part. And by the way, something kind of neat that you guys may have forgotten, but I didn't. Check this. Go back to this. Go back and unsuppress my, look what we've got. We still got this beautiful, we could actually work in this mode so we could look at our part, but this looks pretty good. So I like what I've done, and turn that off again. So I've got another little part on the top, and it does show me something really neat. There's actually this weird little flat section up here. There's a kind of a weird little thing sticking out right on the top, which has this little plate. I don't know what it is, but let's go and put it in, and we'll see that. So let me show you how easy that is. All right, we're going to zoom into the top here, and we're going to take this, put another block right at, oh, Bobby, slow down. Come in here. Good. Give me that little block. There it is. It's located right there. How wide? I want this to be exactly 30. And I believe the height of this fellow, no, I don't really know how long it is this way. We're going to find that out in a moment. And I believe it's 2 millimeter high. So I need to put this into position. How are we going to do that? Handy dandy tri-ball. Activate the tri-ball. I want the tri-ball to be located right on the top of this. So I highlight, snap it to the top. Perfect. Lock it into position. Snap everything down to this lower, what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to see as I'm moving this thing, I want it to find this lower face. Oh, perfect. And now told me that it's actually up. That is, it's 1.5. I believe it's up 1.5. You see that right in the center? It would be up. Oh, it's exactly up. Sorry. Perfect. Right in the middle. Don't really care. Half. Good. So I put that into position, but I've created a design problem for myself. Look at that. It's obstructing these holes. Well, we have a really neat trick, and that's in our tree. I can actually just come in and say, this hole, by the way, needs to be done last. So apply it last. Oh, that's really cool. So it now went through and cut through that. What about this hole right here? This hole too. Apply that last. So as you can see, what it's done is it reordered my tree here to do all of these things afterwards. And I've got this marvelous thing in the right position. But one thing I've forgotten, it tells me it needs to be, this front edge needs to be 24 from the center. Check this out. Well, don't actually know where this is, so watch this little trick. I want to just be able to say here, this front edge is exactly 24 millimeters from the center of this. Beautiful. Thank you for that. And I've got that little piece done. All right, cool. Well, that's kind of neat. We finished this part. Let's save it. All right. And you know what? Hang on just for a second. This part, by the way, I need to send it to my customer. So this is my original part right now. Kind of excited. Original part. That's how difficult it is to rename parts in IronCAD. So I've got this part done, and let's do a quick drawing. Just give me a real quick drawing of this. So we just created our part. Now I want to show you how easy it is to draw it. And by the way, this is before our friend. Oh, wait, come back here. Bobby, do things in the right order. Save this. I forgot that. I thought I had saved it. Call this original. I just wanted to call the original. I'd already saved one, but that's okay. Good. And go back to my drawing now and go ahead and lay it out. Yep, the original. There's the front. And I want you to do all these views like this and go ahead. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to do that again. I noticed that I did not like the size, so I'm going to change this and make it a little bigger. See, I like to be in complete control. Beautiful. This is exactly what I wanted. Move this one up a little bit, move this one over. Here's my drawing. So I got my drawing in my part, get it right the way I want it. This is great. All right. And of course, if I needed to, I could come in here now and do a little bit of annotation. So, I might say, give me horizontal dimension, just simple things. Remember, just to check my work. Yep, 40, that was correct. And I remember from this point to this point, that was supposed to be, sorry, Bobby. Go ahead, that's not horizontal. Give me a quick vertical dimension just from here to here. Yep, that was 15, perfect. And if I wanted to do a quick angle, just to show you, these are some of the things we were working on before. Give me that little angle here. Beautiful, 15-degree angle. Great. I'm really happy with what I've done so far. And, I really want to do this and copy this. I want a copy of it. Give me a copy. Okay. So I've got 2 copies of this. Why? So that's our quick drawing. This is the original part that we've done. And I need to send the drawing and this to my customer. So just want to show you a cute little thing that we work on for communication. And I don't know if some of you, so I'm going to share this model. Yep. Go ahead and share it. If you haven't seen this yet, it's really, really kind of neat. So I've created a web viewable version of this. I'm going to copy the link. And now I'm going to go into a browser. I'm going to go into my Microsoft Edge browser. And just simply come in here and good enough. Don't want to see any bad news, so go away, guys. Come up here, put that in, and you're seeing this live. So now it's actually live coming in. It's loading my model, and there's the actual web viewable model. And looking at this, and you know, we're round tripping this, and there's lots of other ways of doing it. So basically, what happened is, you know, I've got this part done, and I'm really excited because I finished it, and it's good. Get back out of there. But the customer just came back to me and said, Bobby, you need to make some changes. It's not quite right. We've got some changes. So what are those changes? Well, they're telling me that this flange right here, that whole upper section needs to be 45 mil, not 40. Oh, crap. Okay. And this boss, I need another one on the other side. And the customer noticed that I made a mistake on this, you know, that this was a cone. It's not supposed to be a cone. This is a pretty, you know, if I look at it correctly, that's actually supposed to be kind of a sweep down there. So those are some pretty significant changes, but let me show you how IronCAD can really do some neat work. So what am I going to do? I'm going to come in here right now and say, I want to create a new configuration. You know, because this was my original part. So I just want you to take this part and copy it, paste it. I just created a new part. So there's two parts there. One called the original and the other one called the original. I'm just going to come in here and call, this is the revision. All right, so I'm working on that one. I don't want to see this one. Go ahead and suppress it. That means suppress it doesn't exist. It's not in the database. It's not here. It doesn't even exist. So now this is going to be a different color. That's silver. Oh, hide this one. You know, suppress it. Go back to the original. Different color. Okay. This is the original. Well, what I want to do right now is I want to be able to do that automatically. So I'm going to create a revision, something called my configuration revision. This is the revision, and I now want you, any new parts that are created or suppressed, I want you to track those for me. So now I'm working in the revision, but it's showing me the original. I don't want that. Nope. Hide or suppress the original and bring this back. So now what we are doing is we're working on this new part. What does that let me do? So anytime I want, I'm working this ribbon. So, I need to change first. It told me you need to change this boss. So I'm going to do that. How might I do it? Pick on it and look at that and say, you know, I didn't like the way that was. It was 20. I need to decrease just a little bit. Go up 5 millimeters. Thank you for that. Make the change. I'm done. And notice that as I do that, all of these will be recalculated. So anything that I'm doing, as I'm changing this, all of these are being recalculated to suit. It also told me that it's got to move up 1 millimeter because it was, you know, I got information back in a markup that it says this needs to actually go up 1 mil. So, okay, well, you know, reset this so it's straight up and down, kind of neat, lock it, and say, you know, I need to know what is the distance. If I lock this in, I just want to move in this direction. What's the distance from a point? Well, it's this lower plane. Oh, Bobby, you said it was 15. No, I want it to be 16. Good. So move it up. And done. I've done my work and it's moved it up. And, you know, it's really neat to watch that kind of thing being done because it's here's where it was. You know, right here, it was down here. You know, there was the angle. And notice unlimited undo and redo. So I'm making these changes live, which is kind of neat. And it's done that. And what else do we want? We want one on the other side. So let's pick this up and simply say, move the triball to the center of our part, right? Right at the center there. And go ahead and just give me one on the other side, please. Mirror it, link one on the other side. Not a lot of work. I've added this, and if we'll notice, yep, what did I forget you? Yeah, I did. I forgot to take the hole. Let's see if I can just do that again. Move this to the center. Sorry that I got confused there. I should have done them both at the same time, but don't really care. Move this into global coordinates, lock it into position, and also move that over. So I could do them together or one after the other. But you can see, no big deal. That was kind of neat. I'm just working. Oh, what happened to you? Oh, look at this. So let me show you something. I moved that, and that's in the way. Watch this, guys. That's really kind of neat. Notice that this cylinder right here, I'll highlight it for you. This cylinder right there it happens before that move that I just did. Watch this. I don't care. I can just pick it up and move it down to the bottom. Ta-da. So it's really kind of a neat way to work. Now, I've done that. Now, here's another change. Wow. It tells me this whole top section needs to grow. Remember that? But I don't want this to grow, and I don't want these things to grow. They all stay the same. Well, watch this. Here's something really, really neat. I'm going to create another configuration, and I like this configuration for me because it's, hey, you go away. This keeps yelling at me. Okay, because I haven't answered my emails. Give me a new one. This is going to be called Edit Top. All right, so this is just for me. Bobby's doing something to help him work. It's not, just to help. So I'm in the Edit Top revision right now. And what does that mean? That means that I want everything in the center, all of these IntelliShapes. So I only want to be able to keep the top work. So, I don't need this cone. I don't actually need any of this stuff in the middle. All of that stuff in the middle, I'm going to say, just suppress it. Oh, there's something else. Who are you? And oh, you guys. Oh, and you, right? You too. Oh, shoot. Sorry, guys. You and you. Also suppressed. I'm just doing this. So there we go. So I've suppressed everything that I don't need. I'm noticing it's taking me more time than I need. Suppress this too. But you'll see why this is helpful in a moment. So I've got everything out of the way that I don't need at the moment. And by the way, anytime I want, I just say go back to the revision. There's everything back. Oh no, go back to edit the top. It's remembering everything that I've done. That's why I did it. So it's easy for me. All right, how are we going to do this? Well, I could go back and pick each one of these like you saw me do in the beginning, or I can use a really marvelous feature called stretch parter assembly. Bang. I'm going to do it, stretch parter assembly. How does it work? Well, put a plane right here. Where's that going to be located? I need this to be located right here at the center of my part, where, go ahead and grab the center. Done. And now I want you to stretch all the geometry that you see here. I want to stretch this 2.5 millimeters because it's supposed to be bigger. So let's see what happens. Go ahead. Done. Through that side. Awesome. Let's do that one more time on the other side. So grab this, move it right into, and this time, watch this. Instead of I just say, go to the center point, this kind of idea. Good. It's in the center, but watch, notice where this arrow is? No, reverse the arrow. I want to go 2.5 in the other direction. Give me a warning, don't care. Beautiful. I've stretched this whole thing out. Happy with that. And by the way, what can I do now? It's so easy. Just bring back the revision that I'm working on. Good. So I have changed the top. So it's 45 now. Equidistant 45. Beautiful. I've made those changes and all the holes moved. Everything moved beautifully. And now, without a single, what do I want to, oh, it tells me the center. I've got to do the center. All right, well, now you see why I created that configuration for editing. Check this out. Go back to here. And now I need to do a loft. So here's a neat way to do a loft with this. And by the way, remember the original part cone and the cylinder? I'm sorry, the part cone and the blend for the part cone, wherever that is, this one right there. I don't need that anymore. Not going to worry about that blend. And I don't really need the part cone either. Wherever it went, there it is. I'm just getting it out of the way because I'm going to replace it now with a loft. And here's something really neat. Grab this loft, put it right at the center. All right, that's a very little loft. Hey, Carrie, is there a way to make that loft bigger? Or is it?
I think if you zoom out, it might be a little bigger. I'm not sure.
So it's based on my size, where I'm zoomed, right?
Yep.
Exactly. Thank you. Yep, beautiful, neat. So if I'm zoomed in, it assumes I want to do a little loft. Neat. So here's my loft that I'm going to create. Remember, folks, I'm going to create this shape here. All right, kind of neat. How are we going to do that? Well, let's just simply look at our loft and got some handy dandy tools right here and say, what do I want to do? Edit this first cross section. Oh, that's kind of neat. Display everything so I can see my part as well. Good. Well, that's located a little bit too high, that section. So, of course, activate my tri-ball and move it down into the location at the top. Beautiful. So that's what it looks like. Turn the tri-ball off. How big is that one supposed to be? Oh, that was supposed to be 25 divided by 2. Oh, there's the first one, right? Let me just check to make sure. Is that correct? Sure is. And there's another, the next section. Where do I want that to be located? Well, I really need that located maybe because I want it to stay straight and I can see where that transition goes. I want that to come right up here. Bring it down. I want that to be about 10 millimeters down from the top. Excellent. And how big is that? Well, I actually want to make that exactly the same as the other one. And then finally, the last section, okay, is the one right down at the bottom. And I don't know if I did this. I just got to make sure I'm doing this correctly. Do you know what that top loft is supposed to be, Carrie? I know you've done this part a million times. Sorry, guys. I want to get my part right. It's 25 at the top, and I see 85 degrees, and the bottom. Oh, I see what it is. Yep, it's derived from that. So I'm going to look at it again. Oops, come back here. This one is already in the right place. Oh, I see. It's exactly 18 like that other shape. When I'm done, watch what happens here, folks. There we go. That's pretty cool. 1, 2. Put this absolutely in the right position. And while I'm working on it, watch what I can do. Here's kind of a neat trick. I'm going to highlight this edge under here. Right click and just say blend. That's a little make that 3 on the top. Do another one down here just while we're working. I don't want that 3, I want it 1. Same thing. And got that done. And so look what we're going to do now. Finish this. Oh, please bring my revision back. Oh, what happened? I suppressed that. Unsuppress and unsuppress this. So as I'm working, there we go. We got my top, my bottom. Let me just see. Looking pretty cool. Why did you not?
You move it up before those shapes, before they move it back up before the rib.
Gotcha. Don't much matter, right? Where's my rib? There it is. Kind of neat. Thanks, Carrie. I like playing with this because it does some really neat things. So it actually shows me some really interesting capabilities as I'm working with, these two. Sorry about that. Fly last. Good enough. So I'm getting this model in shape, all of the changes. And by the way, as I've been working on this and changing this model and making it beautiful, guess what? Everything else on the original is still here. there's the original model, all existing in the same space. So as I look at that, if I go to my drawing and I look at the first one, okay, well, here it is, go ahead. Kind of neat. Okay, so there's my original model. Let's look at this one. This one, yeah, go ahead and update. Well, nothing changed here, but you know, we got two drawings. Well, no, I want this to be the revision. Oh, there's the revision. So I created two drawings. One's showing now the actual first part that I made, and this one is showing the revision. That's kind of neat. Come over here, show this to me. Okay, there's the revised part, and it actually is highlighting the changes that I made. So on this part, showing it to you, kind of cool. There's the first one. And by the way, a little trick for people. If I come in here and say, show me these properties, you know, please tell me something here. I want this to be the name of this part. Beautiful. Okay. Well, it tells me it's the original. Okay. So that's a quick way of just saying this is the original part. And then, of course, if I go into this one, this is where we made the change, which is kind of cool. And I can go over and make that. And one thing I was going to talk to you about, Carrie, is reattaching these. Do you have any, is there an easy way to reattach these guys? I actually just pick it up, right?
Yeah, for like the 15 length, you should just be able to grab the endpoint and snap it to the new point.
Oh, beautiful. So gorgeous. Thank you for that. So you see those showing me those are the changes that were made. You know, and this one here, it had the same thing, but I really want to be able to show people there's the new point, 16, and of course this. I don't know if I can fix that one, but I don't really care.
Yeah, you probably have to touch the edge because you referenced an edge on that one.
Yeah, no worries. I'm not too concerned. It's pretty neat. The idea that I was able to create the two drawings, and I did very minimal sketching. So what I really want to talk about, again, I've shown you some pretty remarkable things here. The idea that we had an original design that I did almost entirely without having to sketch. We created a revision of that original design. And of course, all of the marvelous things that we have anytime within IronCAD, if you want to render, simply pop out a render. I did an Alt-R and I would get this lovely shape. And the things that you're looking at, I don't want to say that. I'm just showing you different capabilities. I did create this in this coloring. There's other things we can do. These drag and drop shapes anytime you want. If you want to drive different people crazy, you can do the same idea that all of these shapes can be put in here to, you know, color and change anything you might want. But I'm more than happy. My intention for you all was to see how we can, you know, this innovative design offering flexibility. And I made mistakes. I really did. I haven't had enough coffee. I made lots of mistakes and just was simply able to fix it. It wasn't hard. It was really, really easy. Just go back. You've seen me do, I didn't create, you know, I did a very flexible history. I didn't use one datum plane, not one. It was so easy to position my geometry. And these intelligent features will save you enormous amounts of time. So we looked at the intelligent shapes. We looked at the tri-ball. There are a series of webinars that we've been running. You can check these webinars out online to make my design life easy. Oh, by the way, within a couple of weeks, I'll be excited to show you all. RJ, you and I are probably going to work on this as soon as you get some time. But we're going to be working on, just want to show you folks, this is going to be the next webinar that we're working on is going to be a sheet metal webinar. And I'm pretty excited about this because we have some pretty fantastic sheet metal capabilities here. You know, so for example, if I were to look at this particular part, the cabinet that we're making, we're going to be showing you in the next webinar how you can simply do things like take that cabinet, unfold it, there's the unfolded part, and then simply come in and create a drawing out of this, you know, the part that we just did. Good, go ahead and show me this part, put it out on the screen, and you notice does that, shows me this entire thing, shows me the bend lines. That's in the next webinar coming within the next week to 2 weeks. And at this point, I would be absolutely happy to take any questions that y'all might have.
Good job, Bobby. Thank you.
My pleasure.
So, well, one of the first things that came up, but it was very, I mean, right at the beginning, was how we're different, and hopefully how we're different from the, you know, Inventor specifically. Hopefully, after seeing this, the limited sketching that we're having to do, in addition to the flexibility of the tree itself, where you saw Bobby add the feature where he took the cylinder, added it to the other side, and was able to move those features around. So being that our features are not history based, it gives us a lot more flexibility than other products on the market. So one comment came from an IronCAD experienced user. He was talking about the Snap 2. Basically, if you'll show real quick, Bobby, in the options, that we do have an option where Bobby was holding the shift key to snap the features. We do have an automatic snap to feature in our options where you can bypass the shift key and will automatically snap to
Correct.
feature.
Yeah, that's a good point. In other words, if I wanted to move this around, and I do like that a lot, you're quite right. If I wanted to move this around and, well, let me actually, it will now look, once I turn that on, it will look for geometry to snap to. You know, so it's actually looking at, you know, as I'm snapping, as I'm going here, it's finding these intersections. That was something that was kind of interesting. And for advanced users, there was something else I wanted to show along that line. That was kind of a neat trick. What I did here when I sized this part, I didn't use this handle. I don't know what Carrie calls this, but for example, I switched into a kind of a phased editing mode, and that's where I used this edit distance from point, where I was able to say this from this center point here with 24. You know, I might make it 28.5 now, and it's exactly from that point. That's another kind of neat little thing there.
Yeah, those are your profile handles.
Oh, thank you.
The round handles are your size box, your shape handles.
Oh, thank you. So, oh, I see. So the size box, if I was looking at the IntelliShape properties in here, these are the size box handles.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the triangular ones are your profile handles.
So what that was actually looking at was that profile underneath, right?
Correct.
Oh, that's
so
neat.
If you had geometry that was not perpendicular, let's say you had several different angles of geometry, with a profile handle, you could actually control that specific profile line with a profile handle.
Gotcha. Very good. Wonderful. Thank you. Did that answer the question? By the way, just so everyone knows, I was playing, and so, you know, I'm showing how this works. I'm actually playing with this thing and moving around and you know, trying to mess it up, doing my best job I can to, you know, do all this kind of work. But it's kind of neat as I'm playing with this. You know, I'm undoing, redoing, you know, working with the geometry and playing with it. It's kind of neat as I work.
Okay. The next question came from Lance. He was asking how come you didn't, in the beginning when you mirrored the top to the bottom, he asked how come you didn't mirror the part instead of the features. And the reason for that, is, I explained in the response, is that if you mirrored the top as a part, you would wind up with two separate parts in your scene tree. Right. And the intention is that we wanted to have one part, which is why we mirrored the features and not the part.
Right.
The next question is, which CAD format's best for sharing an assembly model? When you're sharing with customers, a lot of it depends. So there's a couple different options. If you're looking to do it for just a design review, I'm glad that you showed the HTML capability that we have. Very easy way to create the HTML link and send that to a customer for the model for them to review. if it's something that they're wanting an actual copy of the model, they don't have IronCAD. We have a lot of different export formats, STEP, IGES, STL, are just a few of the formats that we have that you can export to that are pretty much industry standard that people can import into other systems. One of the advantages also, though, is that with Compose, and this could be another webinar we could do, is if you have IronCAD and you can have your customer actually download a free copy of Compose, and there are capabilities for marking up and sending that information back to you where you could review those notes that a customer makes in Compose.
Just so you know, what I had done yesterday, by the way, just for fun, is that this was one of the parts I was working on, RJ.
Mm-hmm.
But I also did the same kind of thing where, you know, where I came into my this, and I was playing with that exact thing, which, you know, the idea that I could come in here and open up this part in Compose, which is a free product, and that, you know, kind of neat. So here is the part, you know, that, yeah, in Compose, I'm looking at the exact part, which is kind of neat, and, you know, some of the smart markup that I can look at. You know, this kind of idea where I, you know, I want to mark this thing up and do some review on it and that kind of thing, add some comments to it and say, please learn how to use IronCAD while you're at home. And of course, if I save this down and, you know, send it out, these comments, once I read this back into IronCAD, that's what I was going to show you all, but I don't have enough time for that, is that, you know, I can take all of those. When I reopen that up in IronCAD, it'll give me those comments, of course, in the smart markup, where here, the smart markup notes, because, you know, it'll come back. And that's a kind of a neat way to share, RJ, because you could tell your customer, download a copy of Compose. And by the way, for everyone interested out there, this also works on, you know, that same thing works on an iPad, because that's the other thing is I did it on my iPad. So, you know, that's kind of neat too.
Okay. The next question is from, if I pronounce it correct, Andreas. He says I get an uneditable BREP feature when I import step files. Can I do something about that? All right, there's an interesting thing. One of the nice things about IronCAD is we actually do have one of the strongest direct editing capabilities on the market for BREPs and imported geometry. However, a lot of that is dependent upon the data that you receive from your customer. There are a lot of softwares that do not do a very good job at exporting. So as an example, you may find that when you import it, you're getting a lot of surfaces, things of that nature. And we do have a webinar that is out there that shows the direct editing capabilities of IronCAD.
Yep.
But here again, a lot of it is dependent upon the format that you receive and how good the export was that was done by the software that exported. So if what they export's not very good, then there's not much that can be done with a file like that. But if it's a good export, we're very, very strong with our direct editing.
Yep. I work with a lot of non-native files and, you know, this kind of thing where somebody might say, okay, this is, you know, somebody did this, whatever it may be, you know, who knows what I'm working on here, this idea that I can take this and, you know, our direct editing is hugely powerful. This is not one of my files that I'm working on right now. You know, I grabbed this from, you know, from a library, and our ability to just simply, you know, grab on something and take faces and pull, you know, open things up. Okay, I know, don't get mad at me. But we have tremendous capability, and this part comes out of a library. We do a lot of that kind of work, and for those who are interested, if you look at the add-ins, there are millions, literally millions of parts that are online. So if you go, for example, to the trace part community, I grab a lot of things like handles, things like that, and put them together. So, you know, you can go online and grab just about anything and bring this in and edit it to suit what you need to do. Go ahead, RJ. I'll turn it back to you.
You good?
Okay, cool.
Let's see. There was a question about GrabCAD. That is a direct link to GrabCAD. However, you do you download the file from GrabCAD and then you would import it into IronCAD. But it is a direct link basically to their website.
Oh, I've never done that one yet. I got to try that. Very cool.
Yep.
All right, I'll create a login. Oh, that's neat. Cool. Thank you.
All right. So I'm catching up now. A lot of these questions are just coming in. So from the IronCAD Compose, can you drag and drop or copy information from the drawing? Carrie's response, Compose has two options. One is a free viewer that you can load ICS and ICD files for viewing. And then there's a licensed version that can drag and drop from the catalog for assembly design or configuration. So Compose is a graphical system, so the data shared to it from IronCAD is secure, but can come back into IronCAD as real design data. Hopefully that answers that question, John. And again, feel free if you have additional questions. You're welcome to email, support@ironcad.com, your area reseller. Any one of us should be able to answer any additional questions that you have. Let's see.
This was fun. This was really interesting. It was fun actually using, Compose to have the drawing and then recreate it in IronCAD and then be able to communicate with Compose and the web viewer. That's a really neat capability. It's like, and this is a free product. That's what makes it, and a free product that runs on any operating system. It's pretty amazing.
Okay. Let's see. Moving on. Let's see. I was going to drag and drop.
Hey, Bobby. Someone said you mentioned a website for how-tos. Do you know what that website was?
The how-to videos. Well, we use the Learning Center, but it could also be the IronCAD Academy.
Okay. Thanks.
It's either in our Learning Center on the IronCAD Learning Center, ironcad.com Learning Center, or ironcad.academy. Both have marvelous resources for learning. I mean, they're really, really good. Both sites have tremendous capability. Let me take a look at this. Oh, IronCAD Academy. And there's lots of great learning here. I mean, really some good things that you can, at any time if you want to learn some sheet metal. Some great sheet metal webinars, and many of the webinars that we've done will all be posted there. So, for example, what was the one you talked about? This one, where there's, you actually get to, learn a lot about our direct editing capability of parts. So, there's lots of different webinars that you can use to go in there and. All righty. Cool. Well, this has been a lot of fun. I guess I'm going over my time limit a little bit, but I want to thank everyone for being here. Are there any other questions?
Yeah, we do have a couple more.
Sure, happy.
So Ronnie asked about making the dimensions permanent. The tab that was added was a particular distance from the center. Now moving that part, the dimension is no longer correct. And as Kerry explained in his reply, that it is associative. So in IronCAD, when you dimension to something, you're actually looking at the scene and associating it to that part in the scene. So if you delete that part, or now if you make a change to the part, let's say you just make it longer and that the features of itself have not been deleted or disassociated, those dimensions will update automatically. So but keep that in mind that if you do delete something, it will disassociate the dimension that's associated with it. And hopefully that answers your question, Ronnie. I'd be happy, if you have any more questions on that, you can get hold of me and I can help you with that question. And Libre has scripting. Does IronCAD? Yes, we do have API capabilities to allow allow some of that if you do have the capability and knowledge on how to do that. And then several compliments, Bobby, saying you did a good job.
Thank you. It was super fun. It really was. It's really a fun example because, you know, I keep saying this drag and drop of editable shapes. I really love the idea, and that's something that I wanted people to really understand, was this idea that when I created this little intelligent shape, you know, that I have the ability to do lots of things with it. You know, the idea that, you know, I may want this, I'm editing it right now, and this little shape, you know, is quite remarkable. Attach the tri-ball, reverse this. And what I just did was kind of, so I've now, as you're watching, I'm saving my little shape here. And the reason I did that is because if you watch, you know, now I'll place it. Now this, it's really kind of cool because this little shape is actually got intelligence. And that's where, you know, I'm pretty excited. Don't argue with me. You know, I'm pretty excited about what it's doing because as I'm working, it's, you know, making these marvelous changes. And no matter where I put this or whatever one I, you know, if I put another one in here. And Carrie, one quick question. Is there a way to turn off the warning?
Like warning, I can't see what you,
like if I just want to work without that yelling at me?
Yeah, there is a way. You can turn off feature updates. So basically what's happening is every time you make a change, the whole model's updating. So
I see.
There's an option in our tools options to not update until you click off the scene or click off the part. So you can move it around to wherever you want. Then when you click off, it'll update.
Got it. Okay, very cool. Thank you. All right, neat.
Carrie, do you mind talking real quick about the Compose app? We had the question when IronCAD Compose app is going to work for iPhone or iPad. Do you want to talk about that real quick? You have more experience on that than I do.
Sure. Currently, yeah. Currently, what you saw Bobby show was the Compose desktop application that we have, and it has a couple different license types. There's a free version that's more of just viewing IronCAD files, as we mentioned, the ICS files, the IronCAD drawing files, our EXB files, which is the IronCAD draft type files, as well as DWG files. So it can open up those files for viewing. We also have another licensed version of Compose that has a catalog that you can bring your catalog components, like if you build parts and parts with intelligence into your catalog, you can export that to Compose in a lightweight graphical representation, so it's not your IP data. You can share that with Compose and then drag and drop and configure components with clients or in front of in a sales situation. Compose can be used for that type of purpose, and then anything you build in Compose, again, can come back to IronCAD and automatically connect with the real design data so that the engineering group can continue to work on it. That's the full desktop IronCAD Compose. During the demonstration, you also saw Bobby share a 3D file. That is a web viewer that's basically works on any device, any platform, whether it's an iPad, Android, anything, can open up that browser and see that viewable file. We are in the process of building a similar version of that with Compose-like functionality. So there will be a cloud-based, a cloud web-based viewer that will have the catalog capabilities as well, that you can do the same thing in Compose in that web version, and that'll be out later this year. So that again, that'll be supported on any browser, on any platform that'll support that.
All right, thank you, sir. What was so we had a question from Lenart. Would we be able to show some hints in a coming session on how to split a solid in halves and create meeting geometries and later ribs and bosses? Kira, you included a link in the answer. Can you tell me what that link is?
Yeah, I created two links in that answer. If everybody should see that in their questions. The first link is just a simple video on our YouTube channel that shows how to split a part. So it's just basically splitting a part using another block or using our split part tool. So you can take any one of these and quickly split it in half, if you will. into two separate parts. Then the other video that was included there was showing a different way to create a rib. Bobby was showing you this rib feature that he created with just a simple block and adding blends to it. The other one is a rib feature that we have that you can use to sketch, and it can automatically find your boundaries and build a rib feature. So it's something similar if you're in another system like a SolidWorks Inventor that's kind of similar to how they do it. We have that same capability as well. But we just like to show what we do different and how we do it differently in our system, but you can do the same type of capabilities as a rib feature in other systems in IronCAD.
Okay. Well, I think that just about does it.
Perfect.
I want to thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Had a excellent turnout today. Know a lot of people are at home, so we will try to come up with some more of these. Be a good opportunity for us through this time, and hope everybody stays safe out there.
Yeah, everybody be
Thank
safe.
you all.
Really enjoy your time today.
Bye. Thanks, guys.
Thank
Bye,
you, Bobby.
Take care, guys.